Gentlemen of the press, thank you for making time to talk to coach and player. We are now starting this press conference, BAL Finals Season 3, talking to coach of Stade Malien, freshly qualified for the semifinals, Coach Kabakante, and number 34, John Wilkins. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves. Organ, name, ask your question. This press conference will last 10 minutes. Mesdames et messieurs de la presse, merci de faire du temps pour parler au coach et aux joueurs. Donc, coach du Stade Malien, franchement qualifié pour les demi-finales de la conférence, de cette troisième saison de la BAL. On parle à coach Kabakante et le numéro 34 à l'intérieur, John Wilkins. Posez vos questions, votre média, votre nom et posez vos questions. Temps de conférence de presse, 10 minutes. All right, let's go.
Leonard Soames, ESPN Africa. Question for both of you, actually. I think it's fair to say one of the main reasons why you guys are the winners today is because of, I think there was 16 points that John dropped in the first quarter alone. How both coach and from the coaching perspective and player perspective, we are able to do that, to organize the team in such a way that that could happen. And were Cape Town Tigers able to respond to that as the game progressed?
Mon coach, la question c'est est-ce que vous êtes au courant, est-ce que vous êtes conscient que votre victoire est largement due aux 16 points que John a marqué en premier quart-temps et que justement avec cette avance-là, vous avez pu survivre justement à la fin de ce match qui avait une fin assez intéressante. Et votre avis généralement sur cette performance de l'équipe de Stade Malien?
Oui, forcément, j'ai dit bonsoir d'abord. Les 16 points de John nous a donné du souffle au début du carton parce qu'on savait qu'on allait se focaliser sur Diarra à travers un de nos schémas. Donc on disait à John de se préparer un tir à 3 points. Et ça, pendant les 5 premières minutes, je pense que ça nous a donné de l'élan et ça a donné confiance à John lui-même et aux autres de l'équipe, aux autres joueurs de l'équipe. Et ça nous a permis de gérer cette avance jusqu'à la fin des 2 premiers quarts-temps. Voilà.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, it was good because I just exploited what the defense gave me. They were leaving me alone, so I just took the confidence and shoot it. I know in the course of the game, of course, Cape Town made some adjustments. That's why they are a really good team. And they made some adjustments, but the guys chipped in, and that's how we get the win in the end.
Well, just to translate Coach's answer about the advance that they had due to John's 16 points, he said, well, it was a strategy. They asked him to shoot the ball pretty much and let Alou Diarra, have space out and have open looks. And thanks to that, they had multiple options. But since John himself just said it, they let him shoot the ball. They left him quite alone, and they had that game plan. Justement pour répondre pour traduire la réponse de John. Il disait que voilà, ils l'ont carrément laissé seul aujourd'hui. La stratégie du coach, c'était de faire moins jouer Diarra, et puisque c'était le joueur sur qui tout le monde allait un peu se focaliser. Et ils l'ont laissé jouer, donc il a pris les tirs qu'il pouvait. C'était des open shot. Ok, on prend une autre question. François, Canal.
François Martinet de Canal+. La question est pour le coach. J'entendais pendant vos temps morts, en défense, vous cibliez le numéro 23 et vous disiez il y a uniquement le numéro 23. Peut-être parce que Wade n'était pas présent et parce que Ganapamo n'était pas présent. Qu'est-ce que ça a changé pour vous dans ce quart de finale, l'absence de ces deux joueurs?
What did it change for you, coach, the absence of Ganakago and Wade? And you kept on saying during the timeouts that only number 23, which is Sam Kelo, Sele, you kept saying that's the only player y'all should be afraid of. Tell us a little bit about how the absence of these two players influenced your game.
Oui, l'absence de ces deux joueurs-là, franchement, je l'ai remarqué au début de la rencontre. On mettait la balle en jeu. Maintenant, le numéro 23, je disais ça parce que après ces deux joueurs-là, c'est lui qui prend sa responsabilité. Je l'ai suivi lors des conférences du Nil. Il y a eu un match où il a mis 23 points. C'est un vrai scoreur. C'est le meilleur intercepteur de cette équipe. C'est un joueur qui, non seulement il défend, et puis il attaque au même rythme. Donc c'est un joueur exceptionnel. Donc c'est lui qui nous a freiné un moment quand on mettait les points. C'est lui qui a maintenu l'équipe de son équipe dans la marche jusqu'à la fin du troisième quart. C'est quand il a pris les 4 fautes maintenant après son remplacement et ça nous a donné du souffle et voilà, ça a freiné et leur scolarisation. Mais en réalité, ce numéro 23, c'est un excellent joueur, vraiment.
Well, Coach basically said number 23, Sam Kelo, he watched him play during the Nile Conference, and it's one game where he dropped 23 points, and he knew that was the key player, and he was not to be left alone, and luckily he got fouled out. Not fouled out, but he had 4 fouls and, stepped out of the game at the end, and that gave him a little bit of breath sort of to take, but excellent player, best stealer of the game, best steals of that team, so mad love to the respect of that team.
My name is Queen Joran, write for OJB Sport from Nigeria. I'll start with Joran. The last 41 seconds of the game, when it was a 2-point game, were you guys in any way weary that Cape Town Tigers might change the game around, considering the fact that they came back really strong in the second half? Then, Coach, it's been a long journey coming from the road to the BAL and how your team have performed, qualifying, the last day of the road to the BAL from the 3rd place game, and then going on to win the Sahara Conference. You are beating all odds, and now you are in the semis. How does that make you feel, looking at the fact that you're playing your debut season, and where do you bring this sort of motivation for? What's the drive that brings you, that's taking you this far? And lastly, what would be the icing on the cake for you in the BAL Season 3?
All right, I got to translate those 4 questions. Coach, il faut que je me souvienne des 4 questions. Donc, le premier, c'est vous venez de très loin dans cette conférence du Sahara. Vous avez remporté cette conférence pratiquement à la fin. Vous venez de très loin avec justement le processus, le Road to BAL. Et aujourd'hui, vous êtes là, vous êtes qualifié pour les demi-finales de cette saison 3. C'est votre première saison. Un petit point sur l'état au fait d'esprit de cette équipe, vous-même, les joueurs, le staff, l'encadrement, comment vous sentez et qu'est-ce que vous préconisez pour la suite?
Bon, Dieu merci. L'état d'esprit de cette équipe est trop bon. Je vais dire, parce que nous, la force de cette équipe, d'abord, on a dit l'une des forces de cette équipe, c'est d'abord les locaux et l'appui des étrangers. Donc, c'est avec le mélange de ces 2 points-là qui donne l'énergie à cette équipe du Stade Malien. Donc, hier soir, mais avant cette rencontre, hier soir, j'ai vu une équipe du Stade Malien, les jeunes, vraiment, ils étaient là. Je n'ai jamais vu ça depuis le début des conférences, depuis Dakar jusqu'ici. Hier soir, j'ai vu un groupe motivé et vraiment convivial, il y avait de l'ambiance. Donc, raison pour laquelle on n'a pas mis de pression, on les a laissés jouer. Maintenant, la situation du jeu qui est arrivée, on savait que ça allait venir parce que notre adversaire vient de 3 semaines après la conférence du Nil. Or, nous, ça fait après 2 mois. Il fallait reconstituer cette équipe-là encore. Donc, l'ambiance qu'on avait laissée à la conférence du Sahara, c'est hier soir que j'ai vu cette ambiance au sein de mon groupe et ça m'a beaucoup soulagé et ça m'a permis de dormir depuis que je suis là à Kigali. Donc, j'ai dit bravo aux joueurs du Stade Malien.
Merci, coach. Go ahead, John.
So, towards the end, from the beginning of the 3rd quarter, we knew that they were going to attack us, going to be really aggressive. And we kept confidence because we knew the heart of this team. We knew what our guys are made of, and we weren't scared to lose the ball or maybe make a mistake to lose the game. But those are the lessons that we have to take. That we cannot make those mistakes in the next round, because those mistakes can be costly.
Just to translate Coach's answer, he said last night he saw a team that he hadn't seen since the Sahara Conference in Dakar. Team that stood together, very little pressure. Guys that wanted to play together, and for the first time he actually slept ever since the tournament started. But it's always good to see a young group like that, you know, with John and these guys ready to go out there and play and just, you know, enjoy the game, because it's all about basketball first. And he saw for the first time a team that stood together, and that's probably what gave them the edge over today. Let's take one last question, gentlemen.
Rosemary Akinele, The Beat, Nigeria. Let me just ask you, Coach, and probably John by extension, on a lighter note, who would you love to play in the semi-finals? I know you're keeping an eye on this evening's game. A reg side, who you guys beat so well in the Sahara Conference, will probably have an advantage if they go further tonight, or an athlete side who are debutants like you, but got a huge pedigree outside of the BAL.
Okay, John, I don't think I need to translate that. Just go ahead and answer.
Okay, well, anything, because like you said, Reg, we played them, we beat them, but they're playing home, and if we were to play them, they will come with vengeance. And Al Ahly, well, they just won the Egyptian League, so it's a team that know how to win big games. So both games will be tough. And we will get who we'll get.
Coach, vous allez jouer contre le gagnant entre Al Ahly et Reg. Quelle est l'équipe que vous préférez affronter? S'il y a une préférence.
Bon, s'il y a une préférence, forcément, c'est Al Ahly, parce que le public ne jouera pas en ce moment. Dans cette compétition africaine, le public joue un grand rôle. Maintenant, on voit que la salle est pleine, à craquer, et c'était comme au Sénégal. Et on a vu que le public a joué un grand rôle dans la qualification de leur équipe. Maintenant, jouer contre Reg à Kigali, dans cette arena, donc vraiment, c'est pas du tout facile. Maintenant, on peut avoir un public de l'Égypte qui est là, mais forcément, je pense que tout coach choisira ce que j'allais faire, c'est-à-dire qu'elle a les mains n'importe qui. Et ça ne veut pas dire que c'est Ali qui gagne. Je veux que les meilleurs gagnent, parce que ce soir, Dieu merci, on a été meilleurs, et qu'on affrontera la meilleure équipe qui va gagner ce soir, Inch'Allah.
Well, Coach says he'd rather play against Al Ahly because he's not much of a fan playing against home teams, because you know what happened in Senegal against AS Douanes. But like, you know, let the best win. The crowd always plays a huge part in these games, and if he was to choose, he would definitely play against the team that's not the home team, because obviously the crowd comes through with a lot of more pressure. But let the best man win. Let's take one last question, gentlemen, from the lady in the back.
Oui, bonjour, Lucie Mouillot pour RFI. Vous avez commencé ce match très très fort et la fin a été beaucoup plus difficile avec de grosses attaques des adversaires. Alors, quelles sont les leçons que vous tirez de ce match pour vous préparer au mieux pour les demi-finales? Merci.
Coach.
Bon, les leçons à tirer, tout de suite, là, ça va être un peu difficile pour moi, parce que je suis toujours dans les matchs. Il faut se reposer encore. Revoir les matchs. Maintenant, à partir de là, on saura quelles leçons réellement il faut tirer de ces matchs. Maintenant, la situation du CG m'a pas surpris du tout. Il fallait s'attendre à ça. Et, comme je l'ai dit, peut-être que notre adversaire avait continué à s'y préparer après leur conférence. Or, nous, après notre conférence, on s'est éclaté. Il fallait reconstituer encore pour jouer les championnats locaux, faire le mois de carême. Et après 2 mois, faire revenir nos joueurs, revenir nos joueurs. Voilà, donc la reconstruction, c'est difficile. Mais comme je l'ai dit, j'ai vu une équipe du Stade Malien qui a fait des bons premiers cartons. Et c'est des cartons que l'adversaire a fait de l'effort pour revenir, et c'est ça qui les a coûté un peu. Sinon, les 2 équipes, pour moi, avaient la chance de gagner cette rencontre. Maintenant, nous, la leçon à tirer, comme je l'ai dit, on va se reposer encore et revoir les matchs. Maintenant, ce qui a marché chez nous et ce qui n'a pas marché, surtout ce qui n'a pas marché, et essayer de travailler ça en visionnant, en regardant l'adversaire, les 2 adversaires que nous devons rencontrer. Voilà.
Merci, coach.
Merci.
Bonne chance. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Good talking to you again. Merci, coach.
Okay, merci.
Thank you so much. Good luck for the semifinals. Thank you. Okay, people of the press, thank you for staying this post-game press conference. You know the drill. We're now talking to Coach Hazard and Mr. Prinsloo himself. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's introduce ourselves. Question, name, organ, and question. This press conference will last 10 minutes. Thank you, Coach, for making time to talk to us. I know it's a difficult moment. Let's take the first question, gentlemen.
Good evening, Coach. My name is Roy Agyman from Amazon. Over here, Coach. You had two big omissions today in Evans Kamapano and Zaire Wade. Were they fit to play? And how much do you feel you missed their presence?
Well, if they were fit to play, we would have had them out there. You know, those guys they're both great players. They're passionate about the game, and so if they were fit to play, we would have definitely had them on the floor. So that was a decision that was made medically that I stood behind, because as much as you want to have all your players on the court as a coach, it's also my job to protect their long-term futures, especially with, you know, two young players who have bright futures. And so we definitely missed their presence. You know, I mean, you saw Evans and the way he can score, and, you know, his size and ability to just affect the game in so many ways. And then we really missed Zaire because he was the only guard we had that gave us a different pace. And we could never find that pace that that Stade Malien played at. We couldn't really match that pace with any of our guards. As unbelievable a guard as Mike Benajay is, he's more of a steady, you know, flowing guard, where we needed a guy like Z to change pace for us, and which would have allowed Mike to get off the ball and also score a little bit more. So we definitely missed them, but you know, you can't make excuses in this game. You come to the table with the players you have, you give it your best effort, and we just, you know, we were beaten by a better team today. I don't want anybody to go back and write that we lost because we didn't have those two players. Stade Malien played a hell of a game. They came out with great fire. They were well prepared, and they did the job. And congratulations to them.
Thank you, Coach. I don't think we need a translation for that. Let's have another question. Gentlemen, please stick to one question so we can have this press conference kind of short. Thank you.
Okay. Rotimi Akinele, the beat Nigeria. Let me ask you, Peter, do you think the slow start to the first and second quarter really affected the outcome of the game? I knew you guys came out strong in the third and fourth quarter, but the slow start, how much of an impact was it in the entire outcome of the game?
Yeah, I mean, we understood that coming into this, we were going to need 40 minutes of basketball to beat this team. At any given stage, when you're playing at this, you know, level with this type of competition, you're going to need to play 40 minutes of basketball and execute the whole time to beat a team and to advance. We understood that coming in, and with our slow start and the mistakes we were making at the beginning, we put ourselves in a hole that was a little bit too much to overcome. We managed to fight back at the end, and I believe it was a 2-point game with under a minute to go. But we were down 18 at half and 22, I believe, or something like that at the start of the third quarter. It's hard to overcome deficits like that. We saw how effective our basketball was when we were playing the right way and sticking to our principles on the offensive and defensive end. But you can't give teams like this a big cushion and give them a big lead and then scrap back, because it just puts you in a hole that's sometimes too big to overcome, as we saw today.
All right, let's take another question from Leonard. You have another microphone? Okay, thank you.
Coach, how satisfied are you overall with the season?
Very satisfied. I was able to coach a group of men, very honorable men, a lot of integrity in that locker room. They really stood behind me, stood with me. Through a lot of turmoil. We dealt with a lot as a group, some of which,
a lot of you don't know, and we still were able to manage to get to this level. I'm extremely proud and honored to have been their coach and to have shared these moments with them. And I always talk about the Nationals and how important they are, and how important they were to me in this process. And that is my greatest source of pride in the job that I believe I've done for the Cape Town Tigers. I don't think anybody believed we could be at this level, and that we would make it here.
Quarterfinals.
To the quarterfinals. I just don't think there was many people who put their money on us when we tipped off against the City Oilers. And so as I call myself a first-time head coach because it's my first time in an NBA-affiliated league, and just being a part of the growth of the BAL and the game in Africa as a whole, this really feels like the real deal. And so I'm extremely proud of what we accomplished, and I know that everybody in that locker room has some great things ahead of them in their futures. But yeah, we went through a lot, and here we are, and we had a chance to win that game with about 3-4 minutes left, and the ball didn't bounce our way. We had some turnovers, some careless errors that we made, but I truly believe you don't lose, you learn. And so I know each of those young men in that locker room learned some valuable lessons about what it takes to be successful, because I believe basketball is a reflection of life. So the same habits you have to practice to be great at basketball are the same habits you have to be just great in life. I don't care if you're in corporate America, you guys as media members. It takes the same attention to detail. It takes the same workmanlike attitude. It takes the beginner's mindset. But more than anything, it takes honor, integrity, and honesty. And I was surrounded by a bunch of men in that locker room who embodied those things. And so I'm very proud of what we accomplished.
Thank you, Coach. Let's take a question from François, please. Let's have
François Martinet de Canal+. Coach, la question, je reviens sur l'absence de Wade et de Ganapamo. Je voudrais savoir quand est-ce que la décision a été prise qu'il n'allait pas jouer, et si la réponse a été prise il y a longtemps, pourquoi ne pas les avoir remplacés?
Coach, when was the decision to not the medical decision, like you said earlier on, to not have Ganapabo and Wade play? When was this decision made? And if it was made a long time ago, why didn't you replace them?
As far as I'm concerned, the decision was made in Cairo, and the decision not to replace them is not something that I can really give you a good answer for, because that's a decision that needs to be made by management and ownership, and so you'd have to direct that question toward them, because I'm sure there was plenty of good players we could have gone out and gotten, but for me, I was satisfied having those two here because I believe they deserve to be here. I wish Josh Hall could have been here. We replaced him with Marvin Smith Jr., who was a guy who played for me in RGV, who's kind of an underdog story. He has a great story, and so he was somebody I knew. So that was an easy call. But if Josh could have been here and we just played with the same team we had against the Oilers, I would have also been satisfied with that. But as far as not replacing those guys, that's a question you'd have to direct to the people who make those decisions.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. Let's take one last question. Gentlemen.
Andy Mundy Castle, also from Amazon. Coach, just one final question. You personally, clearly very positive, and your outlook is extremely philosophical for the game. How do you personally kind of take a loss like that on, and how do you deal with that going forward from this moment?
I like that.
As I said, I learn. The first thing I go do is look in the mirror and realize the things that I didn't do that contributed to this loss, because this is not a loss that is on my players. We're in this together. So first thing I'll do is I'll go watch the film, and I'll figure out where I could have been a better coach and a better leader for them, because that's my responsibility. And if I want to become the coach that I want to become and coach at the levels that I want to coach at, I have to be willing to look at myself the same way I ask my players to look at themselves in the mirror when things don't go our way or when they don't perform at the level I believe they can perform at. And so that's what I'll do with this. It doesn't. I've been, I was with the Lakers in '08 when Boston kicked our butts in Boston Garden. I got to see Phil Jackson go through his process. I was with my dad my whole life, and we were at UCLA, and I got to see him go through the process. It's an opportunity, like I said, not to just become a better coach, but actually to become a better man and a better human being, and to have a greater understanding and what it takes for me to be successful in life. And that's why I do this. Obviously, I want to win every game, but I also know that on this journey, there's lessons that God has for me, and I'm not going to be so caught up in my emotions that I miss the lesson that I'm supposed to learn when losses happen. I've told you guys I lost my dad, I lost my brother in this last year, so I understand loss. And this loss, I get to watch the film and figure it out and get better from it. Those losses, they're permanent. And so I want to make sure that I set an example for my players and for the young coaches watching me and for the young players watching the way I deal with these guys, and for general managers and whoever else is watching us, that you have to take your lumps and take your losses in stride and try to just become a better human being through everything that you deal with, because it's not always going to work out our way. We don't always get what we want in life. And as bad as we want to win every time, I think the losses are the best teacher. It's just like you tell a player the bench is the best teacher. Well, for coaches and us as adults, sometimes the losses are the best lessons we can learn. And so I'm not going to hide from it. I'm going to go figure out what I didn't do well, because I know there are things that I didn't do well, because my team lost. We lost as a team. And so I'm actually looking forward to going through that process, because it gives me a chance to become a better coach, better human being, better son to my mom, better brother to my brothers, better, friend to all of you that I've been so fortunate to cross paths with. And I hope this isn't the last time that we meet in this setting, and that we get the opportunity to do this, because this experience at BAL has been life-changing for me. I didn't know if I loved the game after my brother passed, and this reminded me that this is what I'm supposed to do, and that this is what I love. So I wouldn't have learned this and gotten this lesson in any other place. And so I thank all of you for being a part of this journey with me, and for being so kind and taking the time to ask us questions and learn a little bit about us. So thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah. Coach, I think I speak for everybody when I say that, you're appreciated and you're going to be missed, and we'll see you next year.
I hope so, God willing.
See you next year. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.